Hey, I'm your host, Jen Wheeler, and this is the Healthy Her podcast. I'm a teacher, author, and foodie who went from being addicted to sugar, skipping meals, and struggling to get in control of my eating, to someone who is 10 kilos down, eats all the yummy foods without restriction, and is finally in control of my hunger. I'm obsessed with helping other health-conscious women ditch the confusion and overwhelm so they can cultivate healthy eating habits and truly thrive. The Healthy Her podcast was created to give you real talk about healthy eating, as well as easy, actionable tips that fit seamlessly into your busy lifestyle. I'm not just your host. Think of me as your healthy eating hype gal, your personal cheerleader as we chat all things healthy eating, weight loss, and mindset mastery, so you can become the healthiest, happiest version of you. So if you're ready to ditch the guilt, reclaim your confidence, and unlock the very best version of you, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Her podcast. I'm feeling a little bit bad, and I'm feeling like I need to start this podcast episode with a little bit of an apology because I feel like I've kind of catfished you with the title, The Truth About Fat Loss, How to Shed Belly Fat, Tone Your Arms and Thighs, and Achieve Lasting Results. But I needed to get your attention because as women, we make this massive mistake and we waste so much time and money. And I just figured that this was the way to get your attention. So apologies in advance for a little bit of catfishing you, but I think by the end of today's episode, it's all going to fit into place and you're going to have some big revelation moments about your fat loss, about your weight loss, about how you've been doing things. And also too, you'll be able to let go of a lot of baggage and a lot of just absolute rubbish that has been holding you back this whole time. So that is what today's episode is all about. So like I said, apologies in advance for the catfishing title, but felt that it was important to get your attention. Okay, so let's talk about fat loss. And I want to talk to you about my own story first and my own journey, because I know that a lot of you will be able to relate to the things that I'm going to talk to you about in today's episode. So for me, after I had kids, I wanted to lose weight. I didn't like the way that my clothes were fitting. I knew I wasn't eating properly because I could feel it. I was really tired. I had insane sugar cravings. Like I literally couldn't go a couple of hours without having my hand in a bag of lollies or some chocolate, or like I was constantly craving that sugar rush to get me through the day because I wasn't eating properly. And so I wanted to make some changes. I wanted to lose some weight. I wanted to eat healthy. And I just wanted to get back to feeling like myself after having a baby. Now, for me, I hated the lower half of my body. That was my pain point for me. So I really, really wanted to lose body fat off my bum, off my legs, off my thighs, in particular, like the top part of my thighs, around my backside. And so what I would do is I would try and target those areas. So I would try things like the Slim Thighs workout. It's another good one. Lose cellulite get rid of cellulite in 5 days. The Trim Thighs workout, or, try those different, like when you see infomercials on TV and you'd see those like machines and there'd be a lady standing on there and she'd go, oh, I got slim thighs in 5 days by using the Thigh Master. And yeah, that's all the stuff that I would get sucked into because I was like, okay, well, this is the part of my body that I hate. This is where I want to lose the fat from my body. So I will target those areas and the fat will come off those areas. So like I said, I tried all of the, the workouts and, like we can sit and laugh about them now, but these things are everywhere still. Okay. Yes, there's no Thigh Master and things like that now anymore, but these things are still out there. Like I scroll on TikTok and there is still, like some influencer saying, do this workout to slim your thighs in 3 days. And it's still out there and there is still a lot of that kind of marketing happening. So that's what I would do. I'd be like, okay, I want to buy like the cellulite creams, because I didn't like my legs felt flat. So I'd, buy the latest cellulite cream and that would help me slim my thighs and that would help me get skinnier legs and leaner legs. So I tried all of those kind of things as well. Here's the truth. I wasted so much time and so much money on all of those things. And do you want to know the honest truth? None of them work. None of them. I didn't get slimmer thighs in 5 days. My cellulite didn't disappear with the cream. And I didn't lose fat off my legs, off my thighs, off my backside, off all of the parts of the body that I truly hated and that I truly wanted to change. And this is why none of those things worked and none of those things will ever work. You cannot, repeat, you cannot spot reduce fat. You cannot decide where your fat loss comes from. You can't. So this is a massive misconception that you need to kick to the curb right now because it's not true. You cannot spot reduce fat. Okay. So you can't choose when you go on a weight loss journey or when you are trying to eat healthy and all those kind of things. You don't get a choice. You don't get a say. You don't get anything in where that fat loss comes from. Okay. If you see a program or if you see something on social media or an advertisement on television or something like that, that says something about lose your belly fat now or slim your thighs by doing this, run. Run, 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 run very, very fast and do not look at that thing again because that is just marketing. You cannot spot reduce fat and you do not get to choose where the fat loss comes from on your body. Now, if you've listened to the Healthy Her podcast for a while, you'll know that there are simple steps to weight loss, that it's an actual science. You know, you are not going to lose weight Googling, following someone else's day on a plate, eating what your girlfriend at work is eating. Like, you will not lose weight in that way. It just will not happen. So when you start your journey, okay, and if you're going about things the right way, as in not Googling and guessing, and you've actually worked out what you eat and you're creating a calorie deficit, this is exactly what I teach the girls in the Hype Girl membership. So if you are doing it that way, the fat loss will come off where it wants to, period. So, you know, like I said, the girls in the membership, they join the membership. We do a 7-day diet audit to work out exactly what's been going wrong. And then we create a simple 2-step. I give the girls my 2-step calorie deficit process because I truly believe that the whole calorie deficit thing and the numbers and the calculations and all that kind of stuff has been way overcomplicated. So it's a 2-step process. We work out the calorie deficit. And then I offer them all the support to reach those goals. So, you know, when the mindset work comes up and when they start second guessing themselves and all those kind of things, and I help them get to their goals. But here's the thing, when those girls are doing all of those things, they don't get to choose where the fat loss comes from. They just don't. You know, their area may be their belly that they really hate, that they've got stubborn belly fat that they've had for years, and that's the part of their body that they really just don't like. They still don't get to choose, even if they're doing all the right things, following their calorie deficit, following the plans that I've given them. They still don't get to choose where the fat loss comes from because it's just the way that our bodies work. Our bodies are super complex and super involved beings and complex creatures. And, you know, I just wish that someone had sat me down earlier and said, you can't decide where the fat comes from, because it would have just taken so much pressure off. I would have been like, okay, well, I'm just going to eat in my calorie deficit. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to watch my portions. I'm going to do all the things and it'll just come off where it wants to come off. Because I remember for the longest time, just that hyper fixation and that hyper focus on the areas of my body that I hated. You know, it was always, like in the morning, you're getting undressed and then you stop in front of the mirror and it's like, oh, turn around, check the bum, legs, thighs, anything changed today? Nope. Still there, still don't like it, still carrying all the fat there that I don't want. And I just will repeat this process morning after morning after morning. So you do become hyper fixated on the areas that you don't like. And often sometimes that can make the process slower, because we're so focused on the parts of the body that we really don't like. So something that really helped me in that situation is I had this particular mirror in my bedroom that I had to walk past, and it was almost like the spot in my room where I would get changed and dressed in the morning. I got to a point and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this mirror is in the dumbest place ever. And I just picked the mirror up and I turned it around the other way. And it sounds like such a simple thing, but it really helped me just to focus on exercising and moving my body and eating healthy because it made me feel good. Not because I was trying to target my legs and my bum and the thighs and the parts of my body that I didn't like. It really, really helped with that. So if you're in that similar situation, move the damn mirror, turn it around and stop putting all of your effort and your focus on losing fat on certain body parts because it will not happen that way. And in my personal experience, I have found that the part of your body that you despise the most, so whether that's your arms, whether that's your stomach, whether that's your legs, your thighs, whatever that part of your body is for you, in my experience, I have found that the part of your body that you want the weight to come off the most will be the very last part to come off. I kind of feel like, I don't know, my theory is it's a test. It's like a test from the universe. It's like, do you really want this? Like, are you prepared to work for this while we get rid of that last bit of fat on your body that you really don't like? I've just found that's my experience. It's always that part of your body that you despise the most is always the last part to go. Like I said, whether it's a test, not sure, but it's just what I found in my personal experience. Are you tired of the endless struggle to eat healthy and nail your meal prep routine? Introducing the Real Nourish Do-It-Yourself Meal Prep Mixes, the ultimate solution for busy women like you. When I went on my own personal health journey, I discovered the many benefits of meal prep, and after much searching, I just couldn't find a meal prep mix that was designed especially for women. So I literally decided to create my own. Trust me, as a busy working mum, meal prep has changed my life. Our mixes are packed with protein to keep you energized and feeling full. Our mixes can be whipped up in under 10 minutes, perfect for your on-the-go lifestyle. Using our award-winning pancake tray bake mix means you can say goodbye to standing over a hot stove, flipping pancakes. Simply add water, toss in your favorite fruits, and bake. If you're ready to revolutionize your meal prep game, you can find my mixes at theactivebod.com or follow us on Instagram at realnourish_. And as a special thank you to our Healthy Her community, we have a discount code. So just enter the code, the Healthy Her, at the checkout. So take that as a reminder. Nothing that you do will change where that body fat comes from. Okay, you don't get a say. It's to do with your genetics, your age, your hormones, your previous dieting history, your eating habits. There is all these kind of just unknown factors, I guess, that go into how our body stores fat and also how we lose that fat and where we lose that body fat from. So for me, just on that topic too about like where different women store body fat. So for me, my body fat was always and has always been stored in the lower half of my body. It's always been my bum, my thighs, my legs, my hips. That's always been the place for me. Whereas I know for other women, it's their arms and their chest and their shoulders. And for other women, it's belly fat and they just can't shift that belly fat. And that's always, they may have quite lean and, slim legs, but they've always carried the weight around their stomach. Again, all our bodies are different and women we do genuinely tend to store more of our body fat like around our stomachs and our hips and our thighs, but that's due to the fact that we are child bearers and that we get pregnant and that we carry children, whereas you'll know and you'll probably notice too that men store their fat differently, that men, you can see a man and he's got quite slim legs, but he'll have like the weight is all carried in the front around his stomach. And that genuinely tends to be where men store their fat. So everyone stores body fat differently and everyone loses body fat differently. But if you can just understand that one thing that you cannot choose where the fat comes from, okay? Like, please remember that. Please have that little voice in your head, the Jen voice in your head that says, I can't spot reduce fat. It's going to come off wherever it wants to come off, in whatever order it wants to come off. So you can't say, oh, well, I'm doing this and I'm following my calorie deficit and I really want it to come off my arms first and then my bum and then my legs. And you don't get to choose. Okay, you do not get a say. And like I said, it's all those factors. Our bodies are super complex beings, complex creatures, and you do not get choice as to where your body burns those fat stores from. So, why is this such an important part of this process and such an important thing to understand? Because when you do, you'll stop wasting so much time on all of the crap that doesn't actually work. Like I said, the workouts, and I know you've probably got a lot. Yes, I can see you. I know you've got a lot saved on your phone that you've saved off TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, slim belly workout or the trim thighs workout. None of those things are going to help you reduce fat from those areas. So you can just delete all of those because they're not going to do the thing that you want to do. And like I said, if you see those things, please run. You lose weight by being in a calorie deficit. Like that's how you lose weight. If you want to tone up or change the shape of your body, that's where weight training and building muscle comes into it. But that is a different thing. Okay. We're just talking about being in a calorie deficit, losing weight, and not being able to spot reduce where the weight comes from. Okay, so you're probably thinking, well, that's great, Jen, but what do I do now and how do I actually navigate all this? So we've all agreed, can't choose where the fat comes from, but how do we navigate this? Number one, just understand that you can't spot reduce fat, okay? You're going to have to practice this skill. You're going to have to remind yourself multiple times because these things are going to pop up all over your social media, on advertising, and you need to be that little voice in your head that says, hang on a minute, you can't actually spot reduce fat. So, swipe. I'm not going to save that. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to focus on myself, being in a calorie deficit, and that's what I'm going to work on. So just really important, understand that you can't spot reduce fat. Number two, stick with your calorie deficit. Weight loss is a science, and I wish that someone had explained that to me sooner. You cannot lose weight Googling, guessing, following someone else's day on a plate. You have to be in your own calorie deficit, the one that is right for you and your body. If you've got a girlfriend at work and she tells you that she's on a diet and she's like, okay, well, I'm on 1900 calories. That is her calorie deficit. That is what will work for her. That does not mean that that is the calorie deficit for you. And this is why as women, we get this so wrong because we spend way too much time focusing what other women are doing instead of literally all of the answers that you are looking for are within yourself. That is where they are, right within you. And that's what I love about working with the women in the membership because they have all these aha moments like, oh, wow, okay, didn't realize I was doing that. Didn't realize that this is how much I eat or this is how much I don't eat, or all of the answers that you want are actually within you. So work out your calorie deficit, stick with it, and the loss will come off. Like I said, you just can't choose where it comes from. Number three, be patient. Weight loss, fat loss, learning to eat healthy consistently, showing up regularly for meal planning and for exercise. All of these things take time. I truly blame the media for all of the issues and the misconceptions as women that we have around food because we are sold that all of this stuff happens in 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and it just doesn't. It takes time. Fat loss takes time. Lasting fat loss takes time. So part of this whole process is just you being patient, trusting the process, doing what you need to do, and the results and the fat loss that you want will come. And it will come off the areas that you don't like. It will. It did for me. It does for all of the women in the membership. It will come off. Like I said, you just have to be super patient. And number four, just trust that process. Trust that it will come off. But those areas that you don't like and that you want to shift the most, probably going to be the last thing to go. Now, I don't know whether as well too, it's because we don't like those areas of our bodies, whether it's belly fat loss, is probably because it actually has a higher fat percentage anyway around that area, which means it's going to take longer to lose in the long term, which kind of wish someone had actually explained that to me. But if you've got more fat to lose in that area, it goes without saying that it's probably going to take longer than other parts of your body to lose the fat in that area. So just be patient, trust the process, and just know that this stuff works. Calorie deficit works. It does work. You just have to trust the process, be patient, and keep showing. And if you are ready to get unstuck and to just start working on yourself, creating a calorie deficit for you and learning about all of these things, this is exactly what I teach the women in the membership, okay? Because this for me was the missing part of the puzzle when I was trying to do this on my own. There was no one that was teaching me to understand all this stuff. I could follow a meal plan. I could follow a workout routine, but then I would always end up in this same sort of stuck pattern because I didn't understand why I was overeating. I didn't understand why I couldn't stop eating all the chocolate at night. Women need to understand knowledge is power. So the more that you understand about food, weight loss, exercise, your body, fat loss, all of these things, the more empowered that you will feel. And that is one of the biggest comments and the biggest amount of feedback that I get from the girls in the membership is how empowered they feel to navigate their weekends, empowered to navigate, like Easter and Christmas and holidays and time away from home and work trips and family events. They feel empowered and confident to navigate those situations. Now, I said navigate, not eat perfectly, navigate those situations, because the more you know, the more confident you feel, the more empowered you feel, and the more that you just trust the process and know that what you're doing is going to work for you. I hope you found today's episode super helpful. Like I said, apologies again for the catfishing with the title, but I really hope that, this one stuck with you and that, next time you're standing in the mirror and you're like got your hands and you're pinching your belly fat or your arm fat or your thigh fat or something and you're just like hating on yourself, you just need to remind yourself that you cannot spot reduce and you cannot choose where your fat loss comes from. As always, I love chatting with you, but I'll see you all in our next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the Healthy Her podcast. If you enjoyed today's chat and found it helpful, hitting that follow or subscribe button would be amazing because your support means the world to me. Come connect with me on Instagram @theactivebod for your daily dose of inspiration and for loads of new easy meal ideas. Take care and keep thriving. See you next week.